She was young, full of life, hope and dreams, but the people she trusted betrayed her. This is the story of Ochanya Elizabeth Ugbanje. In a quiet community in Benue State, Nigeria, a little girl named Ochanya dreamed of a brighter future. She was only 5 years old, but her heart was full of ambition. She loved to learn, and her parents were determined to give her the education she deserved. But dreams sometimes collide with reality. The only government primary school in their community had been shut down, abandoned due to its crumbling condition. For Ochanya's parents, this was devastating. Desperate to keep Ochanya's dreams alive, her mother, Mrs. Rose Ogbanje, made a painful decision. She sent her daughter to Ugbokolo community to live with her sister, Mrs. Felicia Ugbuja, her husband, Mr. Andrew Ugbuja, a lecturer at Benue State Polytechnic. They lived with their 2 children, Victor and Winifred. At first, everything seemed perfect. Ochanya was happy. Finally, her dream of being educated, going to school, had come to pass. But soon, she realized that this home came with conditions. She wasn't just a niece. She was expected to serve as a house help. Still, she smiled through it, believing it was all part of the price for her education. Then, at 8 years old, Ochanya's world shattered. Her cousin, Victor, began to assault her. Terrified, scared, and confused, she stayed silent. The threats kept her quiet. She became a prisoner in a place she thought she could call home. She continued her primary education, despite the trauma, determined to finish. The abuse continued in secret, as Victor would frequently assault her like it was his right, until one fateful day, when Winifred, Victor's sister, walked in and caught Victor in the act. Shocked, she ran to tell her parents. Mr. Andrew scolded his son Victor harshly. For a moment, Ochanya felt relieved. Maybe it was over. Maybe finally she was safe. But what she didn't know was that something even darker was waiting. Not long after, Mr. Andrew himself began to assault her, joining his son in the abuse. The man who should have protected her became her greatest fear, breaking her even more. For years, this horror continued. The actions of both Mr. Andrew and his son Victor began to take a toll on Ochanya, and her young body began to break down slowly. She fell sick often and was constantly in the hospital for endless tests and treatments without her parents knowing about this. Then, one day, while her father was on his way to Enugu for a screening, he received a call. Mr. Andrews said Ochanya was very sick. So, her father rushed back, and what he saw broke him. Ochanya could no longer move her left arm and her left leg. Doctors advised immediate hospitalization. The father, desperate, gave Mr. Andrew money to take her to the hospital while he returned for his screening. But instead of getting better, Ochanya's condition worsened. She was admitted for 6 days, discharged, and later taken from one church to another in search of healings that never came. Still, she pressed on, and by 2012, she finished primary school, returned home, and later gained admission into Federal Girls College, Boko, Benue State, for her secondary education. But the pains came back, sharper, deeper, and she was sent home after frequently visiting the school's sick bay. Her world came crashing. She thought the worst had happened, but it only continued. Ochanya had suffered terribly. She couldn't stand. She began to lose control of her body, passing urine and feces uncontrollably. Doctors diagnosed Ochanya with VVF, vesicovaginal fistula, a severe condition often linked to sexual trauma. She was admitted to Federal Medical Center in Makurdi, where she spent 2 months and 5 days, after which Ochanya finally spoke up. She told her mother everything. The years of abuse, the threats, the horror that began when she was just 8. Her mother was devastated. How can this happen? The people she called family, the ones she trusted with her child. So, they reported to the police. Mrs. Rose, together with her husband, Mr. Michael, confronted Mrs. Felicia, but she denied everything. She claimed it was only her son, Victor, and that it happened once, that he was punished and it stopped. But Ochanya's body told a different story. She was never the same again. Her health deteriorated. She wore diapers constantly and lived between hospitals and home. She was taken to the Potter's Place Orphanage and Rehabilitation Center, where she found brief peace, happiness amongst other children. There, she kept talking about her one dream, to go back to school. But painfully, that dream ended too soon. On October 17, 2018, Ochanya passed on. She was still just a child. Her body was brought back home to her grieving family and community. After the service at St. Teresa's Catholic Church, she was laid to rest. People wept, not just for her death, but for the injustice that followed. When Mr. Andrew was arrested, Victor, his son, fled, disappearing without a trace. And on April 21, 2022, judgment was handed down in 2 separate courts. Mrs. Felicia Ogbuja faced her judgment at the Federal High Court, and she was sentenced to 5 months in prison for child neglect. And Mr. Andrew Ogbuja, the man accused of years of abuse, received his verdict at Benue State High Court, where he was acquitted of all charges. The judge based his judgment on failure of the police to medically match Mr. Andrew to the reports presented before the court, contradictory to the autopsy reports provided. No conviction, no accountability, no justice. Only the haunting memory of a little girl who wanted to learn and a world that failed to protect her. Well, it isn't over. In 2025, after Ochanya's passing, her story refused to stay silent. Social media erupted. Hashtags, campaigns, and petitions flooded timelines across Nigeria and beyond. Outraged citizens, human rights activists, and NGOs rallied together, demanding answers, demanding that Ochanya's case be reopened. Her name became more than a tragedy. It became a movement. From Benue to Abuja to Lagos and to the whole world at large, voices rose against silence and impunity. People demanded that those who harmed Ochanya and every child like her be held accountable, because justice delayed must never become justice denied. And as her story spread, it reminded us of something deeper, something urgent, that every child deserves to be safe, that education should never come at a cost of innocence, and that anyone found guilty of harming a child must face the full weight of the law, no matter their title, their position, or their influence. Ochanya's life was cut short, but her story has become a voice for countless others who cannot speak. We owe it to her and to every child to listen, to act, and to ensure that never again does a dream die in silence. Justice for Ochanya. Thanks for watching this video. Please drop in the comment section #Justice for Ochanya.